It was just before 4 a.m. on July 28, 1976. The industrial city of Tangshan, China, slept peacefully. In an instant, the earth began to shake violently. Buildings crumbled like sandcastles. The Tangshan earthquake had struck. It lasted just 23 seconds, but in that brief moment, it changed everything. The city was plunged into darkness. Screams pierced the night air. Dust choked the streets. Survivors stumbled out of collapsed homes, dazed and terrified. The earthquake's magnitude was later measured at 7.8 on the Richter scale. It was one of the deadliest natural disasters of the 20th century. The destruction was almost total. 95% of Tangshan's buildings were damaged or destroyed. The city of 1 million people was reduced to rubble in seconds. As dawn broke, the full scale of the catastrophe became clear. Tangshan lay in ruins. Countless people were trapped under debris. Many more were injured or homeless. The earthquake had struck without warning. There had been no time to prepare, no time to escape. The Tangshan nightmare had begun. Tangshan is located in Hebei province, about 110 miles east of Beijing. It sits on the North China Plain, known for its seismic activity. Several fault lines run beneath the city. But in 1976, few people worried about earthquakes. Tangshan was a major coal mining center. Many structures weren't built to withstand earthquakes. This would prove fatal when the disaster struck. The force of the Tangshan earthquake was immense. It released energy equivalent to 400 Hiroshima atomic bombs. The shaking was felt hundreds of miles away. In Beijing, buildings swayed. People ran into the streets in panic. But the epicenter was Tangshan, and there the destruction was almost beyond comprehension. As daylight broke on July 28th, Tangshan was unrecognizable. Where a bustling city had stood, there was now a sea of rubble. The cries of trapped survivors echoed through the ruins. Those who could, desperately dug with bare hands to reach loved ones. The city's hospitals were destroyed. The injured lay in makeshift outdoor clinics. Bodies lined the streets. The smell of death filled the air. Section 5. Counting the cost, human lives, and infrastructure. The human toll of the Tangshan earthquake was staggering. Official figures put the death toll at 242,000. Many experts believe the true number was much higher. Some estimate 5.6 billion yuan, about $2.8 billion at the time. The earthquake's impact went beyond Tangshan. It affected the entire region. Nearby cities also suffered damage. China's economy took a significant hit. The disaster exposed weaknesses in the country's infrastructure and emergency response systems. It would take years for the region to recover. Section 6. Race against time rescue efforts begin. In the immediate aftermath of the quake, rescue efforts were chaotic. Many survivors were pulled from the rubble by neighbors and family members. They worked tirelessly, often with bare hands, to save lives. The Chinese army soon arrived to help, but the scale of the disaster was overwhelming. Despite the challenges, there were miraculous rescues. These stories gave hope to the exhausted rescuers, inspiring them to continue. Section 7. Government response and international aid. The Chinese government's initial response to the Tangshan earthquake was slow. Political turmoil in Beijing affected the disaster response. Initially, the government refused international aid to show self-reliance. This decision was criticized and may have cost lives. Eventually, limited foreign assistance was accepted, like Japan's rescue dogs. China mobilized significant domestic resources, but the response was uncoordinated. Section 8. Rising from the rubble, reconstruction begins. The task was enormous. An entire city had to be rebuilt from scratch. The Chinese government made it a national priority. They called it the Tangshan miracle. Workers and resources poured in from across the country. The reconstruction faced many challenges. There was a shortage of building materials. Or build a modern, earthquake-resistant Tangshan? In the end, they chose a mix of both. New building codes were introduced. Structures were designed to withstand future earthquakes. Wide boulevards were laid out to make evacuation easier. Parks and open spaces were created as safe gathering points. The new Tangshan was built with disaster preparedness in mind. The reconstruction effort was massive. By the early 1980s, much of the city had been rebuilt. It was a testament to human resilience and determination. Tangshan today, a phoenix from the ashes. Today, Tangshan bears little resemblance to the ruined city of 1976. It has been completely transformed. Modern skyscrapers dominate the skyline. The city's economy has rebounded strongly. The Tangshan were revised. New structures are designed to withstand strong quakes. The disaster showed the need for better emergency planning. China developed a comprehensive disaster response system. The country is much better prepared now. New technologies help predict and monitor seismic activity. The lessons of Tangshan led to significant advances. These advancements have saved countless lives. Section 11. Never forget, honoring the victims and survivors. The Tangshan earthquake remains a defining moment in Chinese history. It's a story of unimaginable tragedy, but also of incredible resilience. The survivors have ensured that the victims are not forgotten. Their stories are preserved in books, museums, and memorials. They serve as a reminder of the fragility of life and the strength of the human spirit.